Everyone. Before we get into this morning's live, as we can see on the screen, well, first, let me thank everybody for being here on this Sunday morning. For the 10th straight Sunday, we're sitting here together and we see a lot of red on the screen. The one anomaly here right now, well, there's a couple, but the big anomaly is Ethereum right now is up 1.48% or $40 per token. Sits at 2,802. So that's an interesting sign here. As we see a lot of things in the red, we've got XDC down better than 4%. We've got HBAR down 3.2%. XRP's down about 1.5%. XLM's down 2.2%. And then if we go a little bit farther, you got Algo down 3.98%. IOTA down 2.75%. Doge down 2%. The Bitcoin dominance is down to 60.81, but still way too high. We'll take a look at the total 3 compared to the total crypto market cap, because once again, you can see when you look at the total crypto market cap, which includes Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of crypto, all alt tokens, meme tokens, all nonsense and good, it's at 3.113 trillion, down about 26.4 billion or 0.84%. But when you look at the total 3 minus Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's surpassing once again the drop of just Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is incredible because Bitcoin's taking a small loss, Ethereum's putting on a gain, but the altcoins are losing pace versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, even with Bitcoin down 1%. So the altcoins are dropping faster than Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and that is not what you want to see. Ethereum, it is a good sign, though, if we're looking at a, let's just say, a contrarian view here of all the red with a little bit of green. The contrarian view would be here, Ethereum's outperforming Bitcoin right now, and that could be a sign that momentum switching away from Bitcoin into the alt token sector, but I'm not seeing that evidence through the total 3. So I'd like to see that evidence that some money's being diverted into the total 3, but it seems like the total 3 money's being taken out of utility tokens or ISO tokens or just anything other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, and right now it's being mashed into Ethereum. So how do you really anoint what this is going to be now? Because we did have what they claim is a Bybit hack, which I'm not even calling it a hack at this point. They can call it whatever they want, but to me, it's not a hack because Bybit legitimately signed off between the CEO and their workers. They signed off sending those funds to an unverified cold wallet. So, an unverified wallet from the user's cold wallet. So, I mean, that doesn't sound like a hack. They literally signed it off. A hack to me is somebody goes in and steals $1.4 billion worth of Ethereum from Bybit without them having no knowledge. That would be like me saying, okay, I need to send this money from point A to point B. And I'm going to send it from my bank account to another bank account because I am not doing my due diligence. Hey, I just signed off on it, but I sent it to an unverified address, like an unverified account that's not linked. Like that, something just doesn't add up there. And I know I've gotten a lot of opposition in the comments about that statement, but Bybit themselves said they signed off on it and they accidentally sent it to an unverified wallet. Like that can't happen. So to me, it's noise. I feel like what ended up happening is they were not solvent. Here's my conspiracy theory. Bybit wasn't solvent to all the Ethereum holders. They had to do something out of the ordinary to make it look like those funds were missing on some kind of artificial way. I've been calling Bybit out for years for not being transparent with their books. And I've warned my audience not to use Bybit because I felt like the transparency wasn't there. And I think this was a cheap way for them to make it look like they were hacked as they start to basically buy back Ethereum to make their users whole. Like, this doesn't seem right just from the onset. And the fact they came out so quickly and were like, oops, our bad. We accidentally sent it to an unverified wallet. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they would never do that. FYI, they would never do that unless there was something else going on. Now, could this be a strategic way to bring in alt season below the radar and have Bitcoin or Ethereum start taking money from Bitcoin? I've seen stranger things in my time. But right now we need to divert some more money and we have to have some more, iCree Tom, it was a multi-sign. And the CEO didn't check the ledger address on the final stage and just approved it. It's absolutely. The hackers from Korea, they say right. But that's just my personal opinion. I can't expect anybody to be able to, read between the lines. They're not going to come out and say that it was actually Bybit's exchange that did this. What do you think they're going to tell you? Hey, we came out and we did this because we were insolvent and this was an easy way for us to take out loans and secretly cover everybody's Ethereum. I don't know. I'm just playing the contrarian view because that doesn't make any sense. How many times have any of you sent your stuff from a cold wallet to another wallet before checking the address? And now the signs are that they're going to be made whole in some way by a government. Like, we'll see if that plays out, but if they get bailed out, you're going to know exactly what happened. So, anyhow, getting off of that before too many people get mad because of that point of view. But I think it's a good thing to look deeper than what the headline says. Because that just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I mean, and if that's the case, if they're so blindly moving people's money, there's no way you could put your money on that exchange. It's not possible. Why would you even condone that? You know, now, I don't know. Oh, no, Nick. That is absolutely Bybit stealing the money, because that means when people were buying their investment into Ethereum, Bybit was doing God knows what with. And now by this kind of an optic, they made it look like it was hacked, even though they admitted that they signed off on it, which to me just means now they're taking out loans, like they said, 80% loans to make the Ethereum users whole. I don't think they were whole to begin with. I think maybe some kind of investigation was done. I don't know. So it's an interesting thing. Florida attorney Tom, we envy you because weed is legal in Michigan. Got any good moon rock? Actually, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I actually do have some. Well, it's the end of the moon rocks, but it was actually pretty good. It was pretty good. Nothing like in the day when I was growing it 15 years ago, but it was not bad. I feel like there's too much chemical manipulation now in the marijuana business, if I'm being honest with the cannabis. So, you know, that's an interesting take now that the government runs it. It's becoming harder and harder to find purity. So when you find those 70 or 80 or $100 ounces, probably stay away from those. There's a reason why they only cost that much. Stick with the $2 and $250 ounces because there's a reason they cost that much. Just remember that. So, oh yeah, and I talked about in my audience on Friday when this hack happened. I even was posting about it in well, the problem in Michigan is I can't grow it in the wintertime unless I do it in the house, and I can't do that with the kids. So I only am allowed to do it in the summertime. But yeah, I definitely do it outside in the summer. I can't wait. I cannot wait. But with Ethereum, I very boldly stated to my audience that if this was a designed hack by Bybit, that it would be the opposite of a dump. Does anybody remember when I said Ethereum would actually pump after the initial drop? Because if that was the case, it was a way to liquidate everybody in the Ethereum holdings, especially the leverage. This is exactly what's going on. I believe this is exactly what's going on. Look at this big inversion. I know Nick sees it here. Big inverse, and I drew it out on all three sides, but I guess we could pull it to the right. It's been a remarkable thing here. Wow, Divine Group, thank you so much for joining Tom's Army. Oh my goodness. You've just made me the happiest person in the world today. I've always said if one person joins Tom's Army during my live or my updates, it will instantly transfer me into the most excited and the happiest person in the world. And like literally you believing in my work when I'm speaking of speculation like this is craziness. I love it. But I still see like they secretly pulled this inverse head and I can't get it out of my head. Once that drop happened and it came back down here all of a sudden, boom, boom. Like we back tested this so many times. This doesn't, like, I've said this and I'll say it. Something ain't right here. That drop this is not how it should have reacted. If that was a pure hack, ready? This is what would have happened. If this was a real hack, I've seen it before. You've all seen it before in tokens. If this was a true hack of $1.4 billion just magically disappearing, which I believe it wasn't there to begin with in most capacity. So it dropped, consolidates. Hey, we got a little bit of FUD on Friday, right? Bounces back up. If this was real, this is what you would have seen. Let's just be honest here. This would have fell out and came all the way back down here. You're not convincing me that a $1.4 billion hack is going to leave you with that kind of a traditional consolidation. There was not, all that looks like is optics to get it to dive down to that inverse right arm one last time and liquidate everybody. That's all it looks like. This, if you didn't think there was manipulation in the crypto market yet, there's no way to avoid this. There's no way that a hack that large would have gone like this. It's all 100% rigged. And for that, I still say this market's not bearish like everybody thinks. I think we're being fed a line of nonsense. And I think something deeper is going on. Now, could it drop unequivocally? You better believe it. But I believe something deeper than what's on the surface is going on right now. And everybody points to that March 12th date or whatever. What was the March date everybody points to? So that I can debunk that real quick, because there's actually been an extension into June. So what was the March date everybody's talking about for this big push? Because if you've read the notes, they actually moved it. I believe it's the June 12th. No, it is not with Ethereum itself. It's with Bybit, I believe. It's not March 10th anymore, though. They moved it to June 12th. I believe it was moved. If you guys look deeper, it was moved to June 12th or whatever it was. But the ISO deadline in itself, everybody's dead wrong on that being March 10th. The ISO is already built into the framework an extension to the last quarter of 2028. Does anybody remember how I talked about this since 21? And I talked about the closer we got to 2025, it would go unnoticed. That was signed. There was an extension that you only have to be 50-50 with the ISO. And, well, 75-25. There's an extension. Oh, yeah, July. You're right, July. It was either June or July. But there's actually an extension that was built into December, well, last quarter of 2028. So the ISO doesn't fully have to be transparent until 2028. So that's where we kind of have to slow down a little bit with all of that. But there's definitely the allure of March 10th is going to be the big day, but then it got moved back to June or July. With Mika, yep. I'm glad Mika's the 31st. Love hearing everybody. The ISO is a nothing burger, in my opinion. Well, you can't say that. It may be a nothing burger for your particular crypto you hold, but you can't say that. They're changing the entire HTML framework. It's not a nothing burger. To say it's a nothing burger is to not be informed. No offense. I love seeing you in here, Corn. But that's a weak view. It's actually going... They're changing the entire identity of how you have to send messaging for payment. So the code is changing. That is not nothing. That is something. And anybody who sticks to the old system is going to find that out very quickly in a few years. You're already starting to find that out. That's why the secret lingo is let's get rid of the cash. In this new system, cash can't be all powerful. You're not going to be able to have the single dollar bill. Haven't you noticed how, we got to get rid of the penny. It costs too much to make it. We're going to have to get rid of the nickel. It costs too much to make it. Those dimes are useless. It's going to cost too much to make. Next, they'll start assaulting the quarter and the dollar. And then they're going to say, can't have $10. That's how it's going to end up. It's a weird system. But with that being said, good morning. 11:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, February 23rd, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. So for the first day, I feel like I'm starting to push past the draining and stuff. I mean, it's still there. But I feel like we're going the opposite way now, which is good. Sometimes it just takes body a few days. If 2028 is ISO mandate, how does that affect timing of the next bull? It'll be perfect. I've often said 28 to 32 is going to be the biggest bull market we've ever seen. It's just, I don't know exactly when it starts. I don't. I still am convinced that this is probably going to end up being one of these big... I don't want to ruin anybody's hopes and dreams in 25, but I still feel like 25 after this run, the final leg is through. I still feel like 25 is going to be viewed as the artificial push up where most people lost their goal with crypto, because if it does drop after this next move up, assuming we do get the next move up, which Ethereum's telling us all we need to know, right? What the hell? Ethereum's telling us all we need to know right now. Wow, it's really going to take that long to do that in the background? That's incredible. This is what happens when I have my son's portfolio on. Mine doesn't show ads, but this one apparently is dead set on having like these long ads on the back of this, so... But I think Ethereum's telling us a lot. But we're going to go through XRP. We'll get through DGB, I promise. We have one contrarian today, which is ZBCN is up 6, well, actually 2, up 6.2. We have Ethereum up a little bit, and then you've got Axelar up about 2.2%. Axelar was in on a pretty decent daily time frame, but because it was Sunday, I wasn't convinced. But it already broke out. Looks like an inverted hammer on the daily. So we'll see if this can continue. If we get any kind of positive momentum here on the trading day, Axelar is going to be one that seemingly is going to continue that round. But you see a lot of stuff is just getting hammered. It's getting hammered. And it's not a... I'm not surprised on this Sunday, but, you know, we'll see how this ends up shaking out. Let's see. For XRP, again, we just can't get out of here. We talked yesterday how we desperately needed to get past $2.60. Couldn't. And now we're seemingly on that downturn for another Sunday. That almost looks like a bearish bump and run. But we'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully this is just the consolidation. And we can have this quick reversal. Like, hopefully this is just... And then it shoots out. But the problem is here is we're starting to run out of distance here. We need this to... We need some positive momentum here. Like, when I said we need the bulls, we need the bulls right now, right about now. We need the bulls right about now. If we come down any farther, we're going to have a problem because that might be a small bear flag that formed here on the short term. And that would bring us down to the bottom of this Oh, this never fails on Sunday. It always makes us look at this from the contrarian view. Every single Sunday, because look at this. This is why I keep saying if we fall any farther than this, we are going to be in some deep shit here. Because this is a major point of contention here at $2.50. We tapped it once already in this candle. But this is a major area of contention to me. If we break down this little level, that means we invalidate, at least for the short time, that we've used this as a layer of support. And then if you break that down, I mean, I don't think I have to be the one to tell you, but we drew this out on Friday, just hoping that we could come out, but we stayed right within it the whole damn weekend. It looks like to me with the XRP Bitcoin pairing, even like it's suggesting to come back down here now and retest this, which is a pain in the ass if this happens. Because that could be oh, man. And see, I want to come in here on good news when I do this. It's to be honest with you, not only is it more profitable to me because people join Tom's Army and might donate to my cause, you know, for the work I put in, but the positive momentum that comes in when we pump, oh, it's something unlike anything else. Now, as long as we stay within that setup and don't, we're fine. We could, boop, boop, right? But as soon as we lose that, then we're going to have to come down to the support, which is going to end up being somewhere around there. So if we measure this out, and the XRP Bitcoin pairing is a good way to look at it because it will give you a little bit of insight. Yeah, see, that's like another 10% drop here on this Sunday. If this happens, and Ethereum just runs opposite, you know what's happening. Give the stream a like. Thank you so much, Sir Smokeslot, for being in Tom's Army, and also the $2 donation. But I'm not willing to say this is dead yet. This still looks like an inverse head and shoulders back testing the backside of a breakout. So even if it comes down, it's fine. You just don't want to start breaking below those lower layers. I personally am rooting for the market to just reverse here. But I'm starting to see evidence of it going the other way. Obviously, XDC continues to just... Now, see, XDC is an early runner. It fell out of that formation, which we're not surprised. We talked about the 077 on XDC. So I'm not surprised. We thought it would come down here anyhow. But what sucks is it just fell out, rejected perfectly, and now it's just stationary. This sucks. This is basically a very manipulated market, and I don't even want to say what I'm going to say. Like, I try to stop myself until I have to pull this course. Shoulder, head, shoulder. That's the opposite of an inverse head and shoulder. That looks like a topping reversal. If that's the arm there coming down, XDC's running the course. Now, it has bottom layer of support that it could technically come down to at 0.6. But you don't want to keep coming back down here. You want this to be an exhaustion wick, not a retest. So if these are head and shoulders, and it's not like it's the first time we've talked about this. It's It's not the first, even with XRP, it's not the first time we've talked about this. We actually drew this out as a head and shoulders in the beginning and said if it's a right shoulder, you'd be selling somewhere between $2.20 and $2.50 if you were to buy at 35 and you're looking for a massive profit like 21. Because shoulder, head, shoulder. If that shoulder, head, shoulder, that means we would probably come down to the gap down there at 160 area. Oh, wait a minute. It's lower. What am I talking? We probably... Oh, my God. That means it puts this back into view. This area. Oh, for Christ's sake. And don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful Sunday morning. Whether good or bad or indifferent, we're all here together. We're breathing, and that's more than I can say for a lot of people. Unfortunately, I lost a friend from elementary last weekend. And I believe today's the first day he gets laid to rest, but I'm not going to go in there with drainage and all this stuff. Hopefully I'll be fine in the middle of the week so that I can go to the actual funeral. But it's such a weird time we're in. We should all just be thankful to be here together. You know, we should all be thankful, be humble, show humility, and as this market continues to grow, what I'm starting to do now, and I know it sounds crazy, with the further manipulation in these markets, right now, on a CD, and I know it sounds crazy, on a CD for 2 months, and it's not a huge amount, but you get about 3.6% in the USA in a 2-month CD. So my suggestion would be, if you have a lot of influence and you have a lot of profit, XRP Legend, thank you so much for the $19.99 donation. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. And being in Tom's Army. Let me read what you said. I'm going to pull up my phone. But I have a very strong message about a CD right now. And some of you may have never looked at that avenue. And unlike a mutual fund, a CD is... A CD, the only risk you have is that inflation rises faster than your CD. It's not like a mutual fund, which is very much dependent on cycle flow. News doesn't have to be positive for me to donate. Good info. P.S. Go Bucks. The defending national champions in the house. Isn't that amazing? The Big Ten got ripped so much, and now in the last 2 years, the Big Ten brought it home. I'm not going to say I'm a fan of Ohio State, but I'm a fan of the Big Ten because obviously I'm a Michigan Wolverine. But I said it when the playoffs started. Just because Michigan beat them is not a reason for me to root against them. I was rooting for Ohio State to win because I wanted the Big Ten, but I knew it was going to crush my soul at the same time. But honestly, this time I'm not even mad. You know why I'm not mad? Because Ryan Day proved that he was not born on third base and he knew how to coach. We proved that even if you beat your rival, if you do it in a bad way because we had a shitty season, you leave the door open for them to become the champions. And Ohio State earned it. They did what the SEC did. They outspent them, and they took it all, just like Michigan did last year. Now the big boys in the Big Ten are proving they have a bigger wallet than the SEC, and now the SEC's game is flipped. Next year, Michigan is going to be right on the top again. They may win it, they may not, but we've definitely got a stat group next year. Ohio State, they might have the one sum off. And then the next year, they're going to be right back. So I like it. It creates a lot of competition. And I'm not afraid to say I rooted for Ohio State to win that championship secretly because I want the Big Ten to make the SEC look like trash. And Michigan won the year before. Now, it doesn't make my soul feel any better to see them lift that trophy. But at the same time, we deserved it. That's called our karma. Just like when Michigan won it, it was Ohio State's karma. Ohio State drove us to win the championship by beating us so many years. They forced us to build. We did the same thing to Ohio State, beating them the fourth straight time, and they were determined to not let that affect them, and they didn't. So I didn't even care about the win against Ohio State. But anyhow, that's just the way I look at things. So crypto, the reason why it's so hard for most is because we buy in, or most buy in after the market cycle has already went bullish. The number one secret to crypto, you've got to buy in the bear market so you can sit through this kind of a setting. So like with XRP, no, we're not at a market top. No, we're not up as much as we were at the very top. But looking at it from where we bought, we still have the flexibility right now of being up well over 600%. So that's a little bit different than somebody who bought in now and they're down from $3 or they're down from $2.75 or they're struggling from $2.40. And no, it's not. Way up here at the, 850% level now. But I always tell my audience, I don't sell the head. Even in 2021, when everybody thought I was a hero, I had the opportunity to sell the head at $1.92 and $1.97, and I didn't. I waited for the right shoulder at $1.66 to be confirmed. Not when it first formed it at $1.77. When I knew it came past that line in the neck, that it was over. So, and I've showed this often in 2021, just so you guys can understand my philosophy. In 2021, I had a 47-cent average, and look at how much I cost myself, but it doesn't even seem like it, right? Because of how we sold out and then bought back in the bear market. So in 2021, at $1.98, it was up 320%, right? Well, by the time I sold at $1.66, I gave back about 100%, or about 70%. So yeah, I might have had a 250% profit or so, but that is not 330%. But I also didn't want to sell out until I knew the market flipped back down, because look at the opportunity. Okay, I made almost 250%, maybe a little bit more. And now when it came back down under 30 cents or under 40 cents, I was able to take that additional 250% and have that as profit, mind you. And then when it came back down into the cycle low, we were able to buy back into our favorite cryptos, XRP and so many others. But I must be transparent now. Like, there are some things that when you start looking at this market, this is something I hope everybody who was watching yesterday expected that gap to be filled. I marked it down at 3. Actually, where was it at when it came up? Oh, yeah, it was as low as that right down here, I believe we were talking about. Yeah, so it could have come as low as like that 0. There's just gaps left. But look at the volume portfolio. You've got an extreme crash in volume on Moonchain. So that's something I want to see. It's not unlike what we've seen here, right? Where this had to come back down and it hit exactly to our consolidation zone. But the only problem I have here is it needed to come down a little bit farther. That makes me a little bit nervous that it came all the way down. Now, we can ask. No, I guess I said this before. I guess it was close right here. Really would have liked it to come all the way back down to about right here, if I'm being honest. Because it never technically tapped there. But it did come within a range. We'll see, because that almost looks like a bearish doji forming here in the short time frame in the 4-hourly for ZBCN. Whew. Serious decisions need to be made from all of you. If you rode this up with me from the bottom, a serious decision you have to make. Because it went from 0.0077 and right now 150%. So you have to make an educated decision on, do you take back your initial investment, which I already did, or do you just let it ride? And when I took my initial investment at 125 or a little more percent, I did flip it into MXC. And MXC, fortunately, it's bounced up from down here, but it's not really up. What, a few percent? Maybe 10%? But the problem with the market right now is all these moves seem to be subverted by something. What is subverting these moves? I'm asking a real question. What is subverting the market right now? Was it manipulation? Was it the optics of the Ethereum hack, or is it something deeper? Do you think there's something deeper now? China, and I seen the verification in my Telegram, has been printing a boatload of the yuan. For what reason? Are they trying to cover their national debt? Like, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, with XRP, I was very transparent. I buy way more than I need with everything. So I took, because I had bought at 38 cents an additional $5,000 worth of the XRP Bitcoin pairing, which I did sell some of it when it made a big move. And then I had some stuck in XRP still over the top. But I've taken so much profit out of my crypto that everything I have in crypto is on the house. Like, and I tried to teach something through my Telegram yesterday. So hear me out. So my philosophy in 21, let's just say you have $3,500 and you rode XRP this cycle. Just hear me out. And let's say you bought it at 35 cents, right around where we did, for 3,500 bucks. You have 10,000 tokens. XRP went up 8x. Let's say you just took 2x of that and you have 6x left. So when XRP was up 8x, hell, let's do it from now. XRP is up 650% from our buy-in. Let's say you didn't take a single iota of profit. You take 1x right now to get your 3,500 bucks back. Right? So it might cost you, what, a percentage of your holdings, 10, 12%? At this point, well, maybe about 15. Yeah, about 16% of your holdings to get your 1x back. So now in that case, you probably got somewhere around 8,400 tokens or so. Well, now what you do with that 3,500 that you got back from your initial investment, which I always try to take 2x out, FYI. So my initial investment plus the same back so that I can make some noise. Now let's say you were smart enough, and because this isn't unlike what I did, I take profits and then I took it and put it in ZBCN. Well, I had 3 million tokens. It went up 175%. Take out 1/3. Now you move that into Moonchain. And this is all based on the initial investment of XRP that you took profits out. Now you've taken 1 or 2x of those profits and put it into ZBCN. Now you've taken 1/3 out of ZBCN. Now you've got 2 million ZPN. You've got 8,000 XRP. Now let's just say you took that 1/3 and you bought into Moonchain at 2.0028 or 27 or wherever the hell you bought it. You know, so now it's starting to snowball. Now you've got 3 or 4 assets based on that initial zone, and you've got 2 extra assets now. But now you continue to play that game, and that's all I did, and I call it a zero-sum game because I don't want any of my money in. I want to take out profits and keep evolving my stack, and that's all I've done since 21, except when I sold wholesale. And then once I bought back in on this cycle, it's exactly what I've taught everybody. It's exactly what I taught everybody this cycle. Again, everybody was mad when I took a little bit out of XRP, but I had bought so much over the top. Everybody was mad when I took a little bit out of here and a little bit out of there, but I've transformed it into other things. All of this just didn't happen by good grace. All this happened by dedication. It took me 4 years, but there's still more to be done. We can't just call a cycle over until it hits the top, but we also can't be oblivious if something changes. Right now, I am not convinced that we're done. And a big key right now is to hold this zone. We need to hold this setup. This is the resistance here. Resistance, resistance, support, support. We were breaking out of like a little pennant. And now the back test happened, hit it perfectly. Now we're back testing again. You need to hold this zone. This is your zone right now. If we're going to come down for a bigger drop, or if this is where we have an extreme breakout over the top. We failed here, which led us back here, which we already knew was the problem. We wanted it to come here, but it didn't. And now we're consolidating back within the zone. I mean, there's no real way to say it, except it came into the weekend. This is when it looked good, nice V-shaped bull flag formed, and then the Ethereum shit. Almost as if by design on a Friday. I'm going to blow my nose. Not that it's bad, but I don't want to sound gross. Much better. There we go. Much, much better. Much, much better. So, the whole reason for me talking about all of this is so that we can see not only just if it breaks bullish, but also that bearish route. Because we're on kind of like, we're teetering on the knife's edge right now. And it's interesting. DGB, I know a lot of you are interested, but if you're looking to buy, you got to pay attention to the cycle. We broke down outside of this right now. That's not a good sign. My optic for everybody when I was asked in the Telegram, where should you buy? First buy if it was up on top of 0088 because it's the breakout attempt. Second buy would be around 0074 and in this current area. Let me see if that's right. Nope. That's tough. That's tough because when you're on the bottom side of this, it's not good. Ooh. Ooh, from a contrarian standpoint, I like that a lot. Like to see if we can hold this area. If it breaks this at 0078, then you've got this. So let's say 0078 breaks. Then you're coming down to that 007. Then the next real buying opportunity, if it breaks down, and this is where I'm looking. If it comes back down here, I'll add more at 005. Anything up here is a little too rich for my blood. Only because I can see a breakdown could lead me to a 30% opportunity. So I like the big opportunities. I don't like to just kind of buy in the middle of a zone. That's a 36% drop. Holy hell. Down to here is about a 3.7 and a 13% drop. Okay, so we're in a bit of a bind here in the market. This is a bit of a bind. That 4 hourly looks like that's horrible. Unfortunately, that's an engulfing, and it made a new low. Doesn't mean it has to finish that way, but that's a reversal. This engulfed, pulled back up a little bit. Yeah, we're in kind of no man's land right now. As much as it wants to try to go up as much as it wants to go down. It's one of these crazy scenarios. It almost looks like they're not going to allow it through manipulation to go up right now. My advice, buy gold and silver first and other risky assets. Absolutely. Pay attention. And the other thing that I was talking about, and I forgot, the CD. So if you've got an extraordinary amount of profit right now in crypto, look at the 2-month CD in the USA. It's about, I did this a couple weeks ago. It's about 3.6%. Nothing crazy. But on 15,000 in 2 months, you'll make about 500 and something dollars. Then you can continue to compound that. So my goal, I did 15,000. It'll make me 500 and something bucks in the next 2 months. And then after that, my goal is to add another 5,000 to it with the compounded interest to make it 20,500 and something. And try to every 2 months add about 5K to it. While this market's unstable, because at least with the CD, you're getting the guaranteed 3.6% or whatever it's going to be next time around. And you don't have the risk of the money market. And you don't have the risk of the actual markets. So that's something that I can see as a cash grab. But at the same time, you know, one could argue, why wouldn't you just buy in silver? You know, so that's the other argument. But I've already got so much money in silver because I like to try to split it up. I've got precious metals in silver and gold. I've got commodities. I have crypto. But crypto is about to have some exit for me in certain aspects. There's certain things that are just going to have to be exited. Like the IoT and ISO are not for debate right now unless they've had massive runs. And there's an argument to be made, you know, with XRP in comparison to where that's at on the chart, that it may not have as big of a run going forward as the rest once we do push back into that bullish push. And that's not untrue. XRP's made a big move already that most hasn't. But the way this market's being chopped down every day through manipulation, it makes it a little interesting. Most of my profits went to the water container, 90-day food bucket, ammo, gold, silver, and tools. I lost. Oh, beautiful. I lost on a fishing trip. Oh, so you had to replace a lot of stuff. Even took the wife to practice. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Like my profit, everybody knows, is if society collapses, I won't be trading my food and ammo for... Nobody's asking you to. You know, there's always been a currency or a money form going all the way back into the old ages. What was that? What was that money form? You don't have to sell your gold. I would think a little bit deeper than that with gold and silver. What's the number one unified way to at least maintain wealth, even in the worst of societal collapses? You always got people on the top, folks. As we have our slews on the bottom, there was one form of money that allowed people to succeed and thrive, even in the times of the depressions, also the times of famine. I wonder how they could do that. Oh, they understood the money over world currency. You know what the biggest trick they do to people? You can't sell your gold and silver in the time of bad stuff happening. Sure you can. It's called good old-fashioned trade. Why do you think the Kennedys and most of the people you see in society right now in the USA, who's your most wealthy families? I've asked this a million times, my audience. Who is the wealthiest of families, and what did they do to maintain to get their wealth while everybody else went broke? And I'll wait a second for somebody to answer. The Cannabis Podcast, thank you so much for the $4.20 donation. I really appreciate that. THC stands for, ooh, I need to see that. Did that say Tom helping crypto? I love it. But here, I'll answer it for everybody who's not aware. The people who became wealthy in this country, when the U.S. went off the gold standard and they confiscated gold and silver, which they never did. They never actually confiscated your gold and silver, just like they never confiscated your weapons. They were buybacks. So, no, not real estate. No, you guys are going too deep. Not real estate. The Kennedys and the Rothschilds and so many others, they didn't turn in their gold and silver. And then when they revalued it, they were instantly rich people. Because they kept their gold and silver while all the patsies, oh my God, they're confident. They never went house to house. People voluntarily took their gold and silver bars and they got offered pennies on the dollar. And then immediately, once they confiscated it, they revalued it for almost a 50% markup from what they took it from everybody just days prior. Don't let it happen to you again by this mischievous talk of gold and silver. You can't do anything with those bars. Sure you can. You can melt them. You can use them in industry. You can use them in build. Like, here's the thing. Everybody thinks just because you have a silver bar, it's useless in a time like that. What does industry use the most? What can't you not have as a metal? Oh, I don't know, your famous cars, your famous phones, your famous tablets, or whatever we use every single day. That's the biggest tomfoolery I've ever heard. Gold and silver, you won't be able to sell it. Nobody's asking you to. What if you need to make something? Don't you think somebody might have interest in something that can make them something out of silver? Tools and all this other stuff you can make out of die cast. Like, come on now, people, we're smarter than this. It's not about the common trade either. It's not about, I'm going to give you my gold for a house. It goes so much deeper than that. And there's a reason why JP Morgan has gone to that row. Now, for anybody who does appreciate when I talk about gold and silver, I've seen the questions about silver. Silver right now, we're sitting at, gold silver ratio is 90.25, so silver is still a steal. And on Friday, we started this little reversal, a little bit of a rising channel here. We did back test this pretty nicely. And now we're back testing the breakout. So these are points initially. We'll see if we hold on Monday. But with the U.S., an untold secret right now is that our vaults are not solvent. They're insolvent. Our vaults with gold and silver. Well, the gold vaults. So what you're seeing right now is the U.S. buy daily, and they've been doing this for about 5 months. They're flying gold from other parts of the world. Now, the one way that we can transparently say this is when they go into the vault, which they probably won't show us. When they go into the vault, you're going to have gold that's going to be bought after 1930 whatever. And it won't be melted down, and that's going to be your key that they've been restoring the gold. You're going to know based on the bars they put in there. And if they ever show us an audit, which they won't let us see the picture from inside. You're going to know whether or not they're melted down bars. They had to practice all the way until about 1928, where they actually melted down the gold bars and made them into huge brick bars. They're not like that anymore in the reserve. I guarantee it, because they're flying it in right now. What do you think all this money printing is? They printed so much money through inflation to buy back the gold reserves. And it's not, this is common knowledge now if you actually pay attention. It's pretty insane. I don't do that, Shane. I don't, but how do I know? I don't know where it's going to go by the end of 25. That's a loser's proposition. Anybody who tells you they can give you a prediction based on time is already telling you they know nothing about crypto. You can't do a baseless prediction. I could tell you anything I want by the end of 25. Doesn't make it real. The only reason I could say that XRP had to run by the end of 24 is because the entire chart from a descending wedge actually ended there. I don't know what DGB, because I don't know what it's going to do. Right now, it keeps getting rejected on the bearish side of town. But there's no possible way I can tell you what it's going to do by end of 25. In its life cycle, I believe it's going to go back over all-time highs in time. But when, I don't know. I do know anything under a zero especially if it gets closer to flipping another zero. It's going to be a time to be alive for sure. But I don't know. I really don't know, Shane. I wish I had a better answer. With silver, you can see this little bit of a rising channel. Yeah, but it's sell volume in the past hour for XRP. But like most of crypto, it turns sell volume. Now, hopefully, with this 1 hour candle, like you're talking, maybe this is where we get an influx, because we definitely had a switch here when I first started, like I was talking about. We need this to flip very quickly. Hopefully, like you're saying, in the hour, this is positive volume, but right now there's not much coming in. If I'm being honest, the sell volume here on this exchange, 335,000, 447,000. Halfway through this candle, 23,000. That's shit. We need way more than that. That's so bad I can't even describe it. So, yeah, it is hard to predict with the world. But at the same time, we can keep ourselves somewhat informed with the charts. We really can. But yeah, that's a start. But we need a lot more. We definitely need a lot more. And the best way to look at this is just like this. We bounce off this again in the hourly, which is good. We don't want to fall below this. This is where we started the live. We were about to bounce below. And now at least we're pulling back up. We've got about 30-something minutes left in this candle. We've been here 46, so we've watched this entirety. But we've got to get a volume spurt. We've got to find some volume. Satoshi, oh man, with this whole Satoshi nonsense with Bitcoin and it, like, doesn't anybody realize that this is all nonsense? Satoshi's the U.S. government. XRP's created by the World Economic Forum and the International Monetary Fund. They're the largest donors. Like, come on now. We already know this. I don't disagree with that. Strider, I do not. That's been something that's crossed my mind. It is ironic because my name is Tom, and the tomfoolery, it is so ironic. But look, guys, I know some of you in the Telegram talked about the 20 million XRP that was taken from an exchange, or bought from an exchange and put into a cold wallet. But this is part of, I mean, I'm sure this is what you guys were seeing earlier. So XRP whale alert, 51,849,820 XRP withdrawn from major crypto exchange. A significant XRP transaction has recently caught the attention of the crypto community. In recent hours, 20 million XRP worth $51.8 million was transferred from Gemini to an unknown wallet, according to blockchain data tracker Whale Alert. While the exact reason for the move remains unknown, there are potential explanations. Large withdrawals from exchanges often indicate accumulation by whales, reducing selling pressure. And as long as my son's good tonight, I like to try to go live at night on Sundays when the market is starting to come back online. Kind of see where we're at in the gold and silver market. See where we're at in, the early onset markets that turn on, to see maybe where we're going to start flipping. So it'll probably be closer to 7 p.m. if I do come back on, because I want to see it after the daily close. So that's my plan if my son's doing okay. Moving XRP to a private wallet may indicate... So if you don't know, when somebody buys from an exchange and puts it into a cold wallet, it means they're holding for safe storing and they're not looking to sell immediately. If somebody buys it on an exchange or takes it from their cold wallet and loads it onto an exchange, that means they're looking to sell. So right now, that's a bullish hold by whoever did this. Now, is 20 million XRP going to get me excited? Not exactly. But it's a start. Moving XRP to a private wallet may indicate long-term holding rather than immediate liquidation, which is also a potential bullish signal. Sometimes such large transactions hint at institutional players making strategic moves or just mere funds reshuffling. XRP, the third largest cryptocurrency by market valuation, has traded flat between $2.30 and $2.83 recently. Despite excitement from the Coinbase SEC case dismissal announced in the U.S., yeah, but they're not telling you about right after. So, yes, see, that's where this is a FUD part of the article. Yes, the SEC is going away from the Coinbase case, but what happened 2 hours later? Bybit, they claimed a hack. So it's apples and oranges. They're not telling you the whole truth here. Despite this, the number of whale and shark wallets continuously increases according to sentiment. There are 261 more 100,000 XRP wallets than 10 weeks ago, indicating a solid level of confidence from key stakeholders. XRP has barely moved in the last 24 hours, with its price tightening in a small range since the drop to lows of $2.50 on February 21st. Hey, Tom, what do you think of Flare? I don't like Flare. I like it, but I don't like to own it unless it's well below double zeros. Because I believe it's a big trap because it's inflationary. By everybody holding XRP and the exchange is giving you free Flare, the price can't just go up. That's just like print. I used to use this example. Flare is the essential of how the U.S. prints money. Sure, they can try to prop it up short term, but when you expand the money supply, it becomes less valuable. When you artificially expand the supply of Flare by no other means than giving people free tokens, it makes the value less. Everybody needs to realize that. That's why I don't hold it unless I can buy it when I see a 400 or 500% move. That's it. XRP has been consolidating sideways since February 3rd. I think Flare is just a trap so people don't hold XRP in general, with the general trend leaning bullish. However, XRP stays in limbo until the price breaks above $2.83 or falls below $2.30. The flat RSI slightly below the midpoint suggests that XRP may continue within the symmetrical triangle for some time. The next trending move is expected to begin with the break above or below the triangle. According to crypto analyst Ali, a breakout from the triangle could put XRP on course for a 14% move. XRP might reach $3. I can't disagree with that. That's the top end of the range of that descending wedge we broke out of at 340. The bottom end's around 327. While a drop below the support line could lower the price to 1 perfect, that's right within range again. That would backtest for a second time the monthly FEG around $1.88 to see if we could hold. Currently, liquidity remains at both demand and supply levels for XRP, implying that a break of these levels might most likely determine XRP's ultimate direction. With the SEC's acknowledgement of more XRP exchange-traded funds applications, the altcoin's prospect for growth in 2025 are rising. Amen to that, Craig. And people continue to get airdrops every single month of it for holding XRP if they're on the right exchanges or if they go get the screenshot. So, I mean, that's the truth. 549 still in play until it's not. Until this cycle breaks down, that's the target. Now, nobody says it has to hit the cycle target that it was showing us out of the descending wedge, but until it breaks down, that's the target. This is in a falling channel as well. So, I mean, it came well below it. So some could say, oh, it's not a falling channel. But look how quick it pulled back up. If you look at it from a weekly perspective, that was almost like white noise, wasn't it? When it fell below. That's the incredible thing. You got a weekly candle that didn't even close it there. So I get asked a lot of times, what's your confirmation? Well, it's certainly not just a daily. I like to see what the weekly candle does. Because if you looked at this in the daily sense, you know, you could have got caught up here with some daily candles that were technically a little bit interesting. But look how quickly it pulled up. Like that's not a bearish signal most times. Like these charts are like smacking you in the face because, yeah, we're having these bearish moves. But at the same time, we're showing strength in certain areas. It's almost as if it's either they're really trying to squeeze everybody out or this is one big trap to have everybody just go completely... Oh, trying to get the Flare airdrop was a pain in the ass. I don't even waste my time with Flare unless it's at a good level. Like one time we bought it at 0.006 and it went up to 1.8 cents and we looked like a genius. Really, it was only at 1.8 cents because we waited so long. Or it was at 0.008 or some crap and it went up to 2 cents, whatever it was. Made like 300% and then I sold it and everybody got mad. Well, the audience at the time was mad because there was a lot of Flare lovers. And I just kept saying it's expansionary. That's the only reason Doge as well. You got the expansionary. It creates... through every transaction, more Doge, technically. 10 more months of Flare distribution, then we moon. Hopefully. Hopefully for everybody's sake that owns it. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Sitting right around 50 right now. How's it at 50? It went up from yesterday. So people are becoming greedy even in bearish moments. Well, that sucks. I want to see this drop off the friggin' map. We don't want to see it going up. We want fear of missing out. We don't want greed. Before I leave, though, again, if we want to have some kind of confidence that we have to come back up to these higher levels and it's built in, and look at Bitcoin in the short term, what has been created. Look at all this liquidity down here at 93,000. These sons of bitches. And it's not a lot, but in a 24-hour sense, it's something. But let's go back to XRP. And I show XRP because that's what we deal with most of the time. XRP Future Millionaire. But look at Bitcoin. Over at 100,000 is your most liquidity. It's building up down here too, though. I mean, it's starting to build up a little lower. 74K is if this breaks down. 74K is if this breaks down. But let's go to XRP. XRP still got this liquidity over the top that it's ungodly. I've never seen this before. So I have a very hard time believing we're not coming back up there personally. So that's just me. Underneath, we can see 300 billion, 241 billion, 360 down here at 224. All the way down, and you can see significant volume that you could take liquidity. However, look at all this. When you hit $2.83, it's up to 408 billion. Look at all this short liquidity here. But then when you come up here, you got another layer up here of short traders that there's so much liquidity formed that if you come out and take out these two areas, you've got $10-12 trillion of free money for liquidity stolen from short traders. So what do I suspect to happen? I would think they would go up there before they come back down here. But with market manipulation, you never know, because that very well could bear. That could form a bearish drop. But there's more opportunity up here for the market manipulators to take money than there is below. Especially when you drop below that $1.88. Oh, when you drop below $2.15, you see how this substantially goes down. There's no liquidity down here. You see this, right? There's no liquidity down here in comparison. All the liquidity's up here. So what do you guys think is going to happen? You think they're really going to let the short traders sneak out of here with all this liquidity? They've never have before, and I'd be shocked if they do now. Algo in the monthly, as far as liquidity, look at this. When I talk about opportunity with algo, what do you see here with the liquidation map? Look how high up it is. You're talking all the way up to 43 cents. You've got big amounts of liquidity. You want to see these darker looking ones. These are where massive liquidity pockets are. So up at 31, 32, 30. A lot of liquidity there. It's not going to look as big as XRP, but look below. It's non-existent. There's not a lot of liquidity below. You got a little bit right here at 22 and 23, 24, but most of it sits up here and then farther up. That's the point. Like, there's a lot of liquidity across the board over the top. XLM is another one. You won't see as much because it's not as traded, but it is 100% there. A little bit below, just like XRP, but majority starts to build in these higher pockets. Look at the pocket up at 45 cents on XLM. 500 million in those pockets. You got a little pocket down here too at 30 cents. So I wouldn't be surprised if it took out some of those liquidity areas. We did come back here once and do it already though. So a lot of pockets over the top though when you start to go through the charts. So I suggest everybody start looking at this, you know, on your own time even, and start to build some kind of formula here where you think it could possibly go take out these pockets. Ethereum's another one. There's pockets way over the top. There is one way down here, though. It sucks. But it's come up to this liquidity zone right now. So about 2,856. Once it breaks over this, it should come up here at some point. There's a lot of liquidity, more so than any other area really up here. You've got a small pocket here, though, however, at $2,000 area. So, and I believe some of that was created on that FUD attack. So I believe some of that was created just because of Friday. So that brings another dynamic here. Believe it or not, Shiba is a ISO token. So I know a lot of, they probably don't have it on here. Yeah. Oh, well, maybe they do. But it is an ISO token. Shiba's got tons of liquidity over the top. Wait a minute. Yeah, this would be the right one. You're seeing a fundamental shakeup where you're starting to see the same exact liquidity areas over the top, right? Can everybody see what I'm seeing? How a lot of this liquidity is over the top, not much below, over the top here, a little bit over the top, but not as much. Zill is not as easy to see. H-bar, I know, is another one. Over the top, you're starting to get a lot of zones where it's adding up here. Look at this. Basically nothing underneath, but even way up here at 32, up here at 25, there's so much liquidity over the top that's building in the market. It almost seems like as long as we follow this truthfully, we know what we're going to find. I don't know if MXC's on here. I don't think they do. It's too small. Sometimes they don't have the smaller ones, which sucks. There was one more I wanted to check as well. H-bars, V-chain. I mean, this just gives me a lot of confidence over the top. When every single token has all that liquidity over the top. Absolutely, Nick. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. But yeah, I'm going to have to go here. It's been over an hour and it's Sunday. I got stuff to do. XCN's got tons of liquidity over the top as well. Tons of liquidity. I told everybody that there was going to be a deep drop here, which unfortunately it happened from the top, but that doesn't mean it's over. It just means it's probably coming down to fill some of these areas, which we didn't know. I speculated that it fell out of this area, but now you're starting to get some kind of build out here at least. Now we can at least do this. Okay, well, we have resistance coming through. We have support. So now it's kind of showing us maybe it could be coming down farther. I don't know. But we're trying to see. It came down below that uptrend. That resistance is going to have to be met. Yeah, I mean, this fell out big time. I talked about this with XCN when it first rallied, and I said, hey, if you guys have profits, you may want to take it up here. 61%. 61% it's down from the top. So with the illusion that it probably needs to come back to 008 at some point. That was my understanding. But then again, we did talk about if it could hold this zone somehow, but it's right on that zone, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go. I got family stuff to do. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you want to join, you can always join my Telegram. I'll put it in the video description below of this very video after this. And if you're wondering what the Telegram is, I reopened it to everybody about a week ago. For 2 years, I shut it down because of bad actors, and one by one, I took everybody out until we had a good enough group to where I felt like it's what I wanted and what I desired. And if you have bad intentions, if you don't have kindness, if you're not humble, don't show humility, or if you're just being hateful, this is your warning. If you're in there, there is no warnings. The only warning is the one you're getting right now. I was very lenient the first time around, not this time. Now we have 221 good people. Who's going to be number 222? And there's so much stuff we talk about. I'm very present in here. So now overnight they talked a lot when I was sleeping because there's people from other sides of the world. But everything shaded like that is me talking. So I'm very prevalent. I'm in here all the time. I try to be very active. Overnight, though, there was so much cool stuff, too. That was awesome. But I try to be very active in here with everybody. So you can see, that's just a couple days worth. And if you're in here, take advantage. There's the content link so you'll never miss my updates. It always pops up in here before I do it. Chart shared by everybody. Nick does a fantastic job in here as well. A lot of others do a fantastic job. Chris shared some, too. Excellent. I'll have to go through all of his stuff. But so that was from the past. But you guys can go through and see what ended up ruining the Telegram as well. I left all those messages of all the hate so everybody could see the past if you go back 2 years, and it's not hard because we just restarted about a week and a half ago. I also have the links for the exchanges that I use. But most important section that I think a lot of people are still missing out on is, where was this at? The terminology. I try to go through it for a couple years ago. I did a very transparent job. Every time I got off of a live or update, I would do what it was related to. So there's just a lot of stuff you can learn in there, and it's all free. You don't have to pay anything. I'm not charging you to be in the Telegram. I'm not telling you have to jump through hoops. You just have to be good people. If you're not good people, I ban you. I don't think that's too hard to understand. So please, if you want to be a part of this later, I'll put it. Actually, you know what? That would be a dick move. I will put it in the description right now before I leave this live, and so that if you want to click on it, you can. Even when I leave the live, it'll be there. But I do think this will revolutionize the way that we can be in contact. And if we continue to do this right, this is going to grow exponentially. It only had 98 people like 7 days ago, so it's already put on 120 people in like a week. And that's with me minimally talking about it at very small parts of the live. I never talk about the Telegram, usually in the updates. So yeah, I hope if you guys want to be involved in it, you will be. Like I said, there's no monetary thing you have to pay to get in it. There's no expectation except for you to, be honest with everybody and be nice and courteous and try to help each other. Those are the exchanges I use. However, I always talk about HOTCOIN, how I feel like something cheesy is going on there. So I trust BITUNIX. It's the lowest spot in leverage trading fees, lowest maker-taker on leverage. There are no KYC exchange, but you can do a KYC. It doesn't mean you can't do it. But if you're trying to trade in secrecy, you can do it. They have so many things from XRP, XLR, and so many others, Algo, IOTA, and blah, 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 so on and so forth. They don't have DGB, but that's on Crypto.com. Same with ZBAC and MXC and others. HOTCOIN, though, I'd be very careful. If you want to buy your spot there and send it off, or you want to buy and hold spot, that's one thing. But I feel like there's a liquidity concern when it comes to leverage because the pricing is so out of whack that it makes me nervous. So right now, if I'm being honest, I have no money on HOTCOIN now. Zero. So, and that just changed from the other day. I had a little bit of money on there. But once I realized what some of these other ones were doing, it wasn't even worth holding on to some of the tokens I had in there. Because I can get VELO on BLOFIN. So if I'm going to buy VELO, I'd rather just buy it on BLOFIN than BITUNIX. Than HOTCOIN. So that's just where I stand because I've run into some liquidity concerns. And I've been very transparent with it in the USA. So I don't know how it works in the other parts of the world. But for me, I've had a little bit of an issue at times with some transparency, and it doesn't make me feel good. So, and you guys all know the story about the copy trading, how they were, taken off the top and things like that. So that's just me being as transparent as I can. I know, Nick. I know, it's a pain in the ass. I completely agree with you. But yeah, that's everything I've got. Thank you so much, Joseph, for not only being in Tom's Army, but the $10 donation. Defined group, I am blessed that all of you are in the Telegram. It's not even the Telegram that I think is special. I think it's the minds in there. Anybody can create a Telegram, but it's the way that we do it. Like it's the kind of minds we have.